Hello, good afternoon, everyone here. Today I'm going to start for the class for the proposal writing. For this whole week, we are going to study about the proposal writing, in which what contents we are going to use, like abstract, introduction, part, then literature review, theoretical framework. All these sections will be included in writing the proposals. So my starting is with the abstract writing. So here I will just share my screen. Yes, now everyone. First of all, I would like to tell you about the abstract. What is an abstract? Abstract is a kind of summary which we present to anyone. So once we are going for the research work, we are presenting the summary of our research work in front of somebody so that that person should get overview of your research in one glance. So where an abstract is a concise summary of a research paper or entire thesis. It is an original work, not an excerpted passage. That means here you have to write down your own original work. You don't need to copy from somewhere else. So an abstract must be fully self-contained and make sense by itself without further reference to outside sources or to the actual paper. It highlights key content areas, the key areas you have to mention here, then your research purpose, then relevance or the importance of your work, and the main outcomes. So what the things you have to include in your research work abstract is that you have to write down about the key content areas in which you have researched, then your what were your purpose, for what you have researched, what for what you have to trying to research in this part part of your topic, then the relevance or the importance of your work. What was the importance of your work? You have to demonstrate it. Then and the main outcomes. You have to write down what were the findings you have seen in your research work. So it is a well-developed single paragraph of approximately 250 to 500 words. Should not be less than 500 words, but it should be 250 to 500 words in length, and which is indented and single spaced. The function of the abstract is to outline briefly all parts of the paper. You have in this, all parts are covered of the paper so that the person get a brief account about your research work. So, although it is placed at the beginning of your paper, well, this is a very important point they are going to describe it here, is that although it is placed at the beginning of your paper, immediately following the title page, the abstract should be the last thing that you write once you are sure of the conclusions you will reach. So uh, once you get sure about the conclusions that this will be the result, you know about that, then only you write as it is the first part of your research work, paperwork, in which you show your research, your project work, but it mostly written in the last minute because you got the findings, you are sure about your findings that yes, result is this only. Then why we write an abstract? So abstracts are important for both the selection as well as indexing purposes. Selection in abstracts allow the readers to who may be interested in the paper to quickly decide whether it is relevant to their purposes and whether they need to read the whole paper. Got it my point here? So it is the abstract which will decide for you by the reader that what is written in your paper and how much the reader will get interested in your paper. That all will get decided through the abstract only. Now, why is it necessary to write the abstracts? Abstracts are usually required for submission of articles to journals, application for research grants completion, and submission of thesis, submission of proposals for conference papers. So, mainly, what is the role of the abstract? In is the role of the abstract is the submission of articles. Once you go somewhere in any conference, you just submit your articles. So before that, you have to write down an abstract for that so that the people in one glance understand your article. Same thing happens with the journal's application for research grants completion, and same thing is for the submission of thesis, submission of proposals for the conference papers. Now, research abstracts are used throughout the research community to provide a concise description about a research project. It is typically a short summary of your completed research. If done well, it makes the reader want to learn more about your research. Some students present their research findings at local and national references, conferences, and research abstracts are usually requested as a part of the application process for conference presenters. These are the basic components of an abstract in any discipline. So, what is the main role of an abstract? The main role of an abstract is that it will attract the reader uh, to read your research paper if you have written it well. If it is not written well, the reader will obviously throw it. He is not going to read it down. So that's why it is a very concise description of your research project. And it is a summary, short summary of your completed research. So that is a major part of an abstract here. Now, some basic components which we will use abstract in any discipline, like the motivation or the problem statement. Why do we care about the problem? About the problem which we are going to study here, why do we are caring about that? You have to keep this question in mind and you have to answer this question. What practical, scientific, or theoretical or artistic gap is your research filling? So, what kind of the gap you are filling in your research, which you have earlier read in other theories, in other research papers, you have read, there must be some gaps would be there. So you have to think about what kind of gaps you are filling in your research. You should know the purpose of your research. Then there is second point the second component which we should include is the methods, procedure, or approach. So what did you actually do to get your results? What you are going to do for getting your results? Like you will analyze the three novels, you have done some five oil paintings, you have interviewed 80 students. So all these things matter in your approach. They will tell about your approach, how you have investigated about your research project. Now the results and findings product. As a result of completing the above procedure, what did you learn? What did you invent? And what did you create? So these are the things which will be involved in your research abstract, that what you have learned from your uh, research work. So that thing should be in your mind, that what you have learned here, what you have invented here. Something new should come out so that everyone should get benefit about your research project. So most of the people get an eye on your project. Then conclusions and implications. What are the larger implications of your findings, and especially for the problem or the gap identified in step one? So whatever the results have come out, how they are going to be implicated, so that it should have some benefit for other communities. So it will be very fantastic thing for others to understand that what new thing have come out to solve the problem. right? I think got my idea here. Now, what are the good qualities of an abstract, right? So, it should be the qualities which I'm going to tell you here are it should be well developed paragraphs and coherent, concise, and able to stand alone. That means it should be in such a short description, should be well developed so that the other person who is reading it should get the things clear in one go. He should not need time to read it again and again. Second, uses an introduction, body, conclusion, structure which presents the article, paper, or report's purpose, results, conclusions, and recommendations in that order. So you have to use the introduction part, then the body part of the research paper, and then your conclusion. So you have to write down in a very systematic manner. Follows it strictly the chronology of the article, paper, or report. Whatever the chronology, the articles, papers, or reports follow up, you have to write down in that chronology only. There, the abstract is also having one chronology in which you have to follow it, and one by one, step by step, you will write it down. Now, fourth point is that provides the logical connections between the informations. Whatever the informations you are providing in your abstract, they should have some logical connections. Otherwise, it will be a fake thing. Then included adds no new information, but simply summarizes the report. So included adds no new information. You don't have to add a new information. You have to um, summarize the same information which you have got in your own work, so that it should like that it is yours only. It should not be others. And you have to summarize it as I have told you earlier here. Now the sixth point is understandable to wide audience. So it should be understandable to others. Everyone should understand it, how it has been written, what is going on in your research project. So these things you have to keep in your mind. Oftentimes uses passive verbs to downplay the author and emphasize the information. We have to use the passive verbs here so that for the author and emphasize on the information which we are giving here. Now steps to writing the effective abstracts. So reread the article, paper or report with the goal of abstracting in mind. For writing an abstract, you first keep one thing that in your mind that first of all you start trying from article writings and from papers or reports. Start reading those things and then start summarizing them. That will help you a lot in your further research reports. Look specifically for these main parts of the article, paper or report, that is purpose, methods, scope, results, conclusions, and recommendations. You have to keep an eye on these parts, that is the purpose, what is the purpose of your article or what is the purpose of your research work, then what is the method you have taken for researching your project, then what is the scope of your project, means how it is going to be implicated, how it is going to be beneficial for others. Then results, you have to write down your results in a short. Then conclusions, what after getting your results, what conclusions you have made it on that. You have to write down those things, and what are the other recommendations you have got under which you have written your research project. So next point is that is don't merely copy the key sentences from the article, paper, or report. Don't copy. You have to write down your own. So you will put in too much or too little information. Don't rely on the way material was phrased in the article, paper, or report, and summarize the information in a new way. So these are the kind of points which we should include in writing our abstract. Now, what should not do? What the things we should not do while writing the abstract is, first, do not commence with this paper or this report. Don't use these two words all time in your writings, like this paper or this report. Then second is the about. It is better to write about the research than about the paper. Do not explain the sections or parts of the paper. Don't no need to for explanations here because you are already writing a summary, right? You are writing a summary, so you don't have to go in much explanations. Then avoid sentences that ends in is described, is reported, or is analyzed, like similar words here. Then do not begin the sentences with it is suggested that or it is believed that, because no one can suggest your thoughts, even no one can believe in your thoughts. So you have to be proofful with your logics, with your proofs, with you about your about your views, right? It is well that or similar. In every case, the four words can be omitted without damaging the essential message. Do not repeat or rephrase the title. You don't have to repeat or rephrase the title. Then do not refer in the abstract to information that is not in the document. So if there is some information which is not in the document and you have put it in your abstract, this is not a good thing. Don't do that because readers quickly find out these mistakes and will just hang on your research project. So don't do this thing. Then if possible, avoid trade names, acronyms, abbreviations or symbols. You would need to explain them and that takes too much of time. So don't use these things. Don't try to avoid these things because they need much more explanations and you don't have that much of words here to explain things. Now I will come to the part of abstract examples and its way of writing them. Here the abstract is defined in colors. So each and every color has its own meaning. Like with blue, you have to write down the introductory statement of the reason for investigating the topic of the project and a statement of the problem or hypothesis being studied. Then you have to use green colors for procedures. What kind of approach you are having in your project. So you have to summarize it in green. Then observations, data and results. Whatever the data you collected, what were your observations and what are your results, you have to pen them out in red. In last, the conclusions will come, which will be written in pink. After your data collection, whatever the conclusion have come, you have to write down it in pink. Now here are some examples which I will show to you here. These examples will help you in writing the abstract here. So first of all, in the abstract, you have to write down the abstract, then you have to write down your title, topic, then your name, your address or your email address you can write down here. So first part is written as an introductory, what is in the project. Then whatever the thing you have concluded from that, your introductory part you have written in pink color. Then whatever the procedure you have taken here, it was written in green here. And what are the data have come out from this, that are written in red and this. Now the what The conclusions have come, you have written it in pink here. Is the second example is, so same thing has happened here. The procedure in this is very long, or you can say very lengthy. It is written in blue, the introductory part, then procedure came, and then the results are there, data collected, what they have seen, and then the conclusion on which they have come up. So these are the abstract writing. In this abstract, you have to see what you have to write down, and this was all about writing an abstract. So guys, if you have any questions regarding this lecture today, you all of you can go to access the forum on the website. There you can put up your questions and write down there, and I and my team will be there for answering those questions there. Secondly, you all of you can drop out a mail for me to for any answer about your questions. So thank you very much, all of you. See you soon, all of you. Thank you, all of you.